Hey, what's up guys? This is TBone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So I did a stream earlier and I was trying to actually get enough ultimate coins to actually be able to summon the boss, but I couldn't do it during the stream and I was able to do it now. So what I wanted to do is kind of do a video. I've never really done this before where I actually just go through as many as I can. The first time I did this, I managed to get up to 20. Not sure that I'll be able to basically do it again because it actually takes some luck as well with the power gems. But I thought that I would at least try to go as high as I can with this team, and then share this with you just for fun. And also you can kind of take a look and see how I do, and maybe perhaps there are some things that you can also try for yourself. Anyways, talking about my team here, I am using 3 of the past event cards, and that is the Despot's Despair plus 2 Road Ashes. I'm using 1 copy of the ultra rare card here, Blitzkrieg, and I'm gonna try going back and forth between the shiny Master Collection card, the Master Collection card, or maybe the ultra rare card for the attack boost, or I might even try going after changing it up for a copy of Bacon Baron, just to see if I can get more damage output there. In any case, the goal here is to see if I can perform better as I go up in the boss fights. So as we go higher, right now we're just kind of doing the really low level bosses. When you have 2 ultimate heroes with both of their killer skills active, these earlier bosses are going to be a lot easier compared to if you don't have them. Obviously, it's a very different story. And so what we're going to try and do is we're just going to go through as many of these as we can, and then we're going to start getting to a point where we have to start doing clock management. So when you're doing fights against ultimate bosses, there are a few things that you want to consider. In Slayers, keys are a lot more abundant, so you don't really have to worry about it as much, so you can use as many attacks as you want to. But the difference here is because it costs so much to actually summon one, it costs you 16 coins. It's important to go as far as you can, and to make sure that you don't end up timing out, and or you don't end up in a situation where when you reset at the same level again. So those are a couple of things to consider, to keep in mind when you're doing a ultimate boss for Slayers. But because you can come in as many times as you want, because keys are a lot more abundant, it actually opens up a little bit more strategies. Whereas in Commanders, it's less so of an option because keys are limited. And so in terms of clock management, one of the things I typically do as I get higher up is I figure out how much damage I can do in a full fight and how much time it takes. So fights take 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes to complete a fight, but you can actually extend it. So if you enter a fight, let's say with 30 seconds remaining on the clock, you still get the full 20 seconds of the game clock to fight out. And if that takes longer than 5 minutes, then it takes longer than 5 minutes. You're not actually going to lose out on that. And so you can really drag this on to maybe like a 10-minute fight, potentially, depending on the health of the boss. And it just really it can really be to your advantage to be on top of the time and the clock here. And so one of the things you want to do is figure out how much damage you can do in a full fight and how much time it actually takes. And so one good way to do that is to start your fight right as you have a couple options. One is I use the clock on my phone, and so I start basically when the after like a minute has passed. So like so that I know that when the time changes to the next minute, how many more seconds I have remaining before the time actually goes off. So for me, that's just how I do it. Let's say you start right at 12 p.m. and you want to make sure that that you start right after it turns 12, so that you have exactly 5 minutes, and when it goes to 12:05. You have still a few seconds to exit out and to go back in. You want to give yourself about 10 to 15 seconds as a leeway, just in case of lag or anything like that. Anyway, so let's say you're able to do a full fight and it takes about 2.5 minutes. So that means that you know that you can do a full fight, and you can do 2 full fights. and before you time out, or you can actually squeeze one more in between. So you're actually going to see in some cases where I will actually start splitting up into 3 fights, where I do a full attack in the first fight, and then the second attack is where I just try to do some chip damage to get over that sort of to get myself a little bit more damage so I can deal enough on the third attack to take it out. And generally you want to know if your full attack can't actually take out half of the boss's health, then you know you just need 2, and then the third, the one in between, is really just to make it a little bit easier. Or if you do less than half of the damage in your full attack, then you definitely need to do a third attack. You have to time it so that you can do a couple of hits in there, so that you could hopefully sort of bridge that gap. And then the last fight is where you'll want to actually drag on your fights as much as possible so that you can deal more damage than your first attack. And the way to do that with this particular deck is you need to be able to drag on the timer by creating opportunities for you to stop the clock. So you can see here the clock will always be run down because you're always going to be full of power gems. And so we're going to get to the point pretty soon where we're going to have to start doing clock management and also game clock management by doing time stop. And I'm going to talk about now the timing, as well as the way that I would do this power gem creation. And so right now, the boss is still, I think, low enough health that, or I should say, I can still deal enough damage. I believe that I can still take it out on the second hit. Basically after turn 2, I think I should still be able to take it out. After this, though, is when I think at level 12 and level 13 is when it becomes important for us to start managing it. And then, like I said, I was able to get to level 20 because of this tactic. And so we just finished level 9 ultimate boss, and we are on level 10 right now, so things are going good. And so you can sort of also see the progression of the health here. And the nice thing with this particular deck, the reason why I really enjoy this deck, really it's the ultimate relic that I really think that I benefit the most from. So I really enjoy using the Death's of Despair. It's one of my favorite decks just because of the mechanic. It's a nuke deck, even though it doesn't deal the 5 times damage like its predecessors did. It still does a lot of damage, and especially because of its passive, it's actually rounded out a lot better in a different way. But the problem with that particular deck is in its heal. So it does a lot of damage, but it doesn't actually heal. So then if you go up against a high level ultimate boss, you actually would end up dying a lot quicker, and you then have to bring in a card that can heal, which then reduces your damage by 20% overall. So instead, having this relic that comes with this team where it will give you heal, enough heal to face really high level ultimate bosses, means you get to bring in another Slayer card that deals a lot of damage. And in this case, the ultimate form from this event, and also Merrick, the Master Collection card, these are the ideal cards to bring into the table. And then after the event is over, I would imagine that I would probably run my full Death's of Despair team with, I do have 3 Master Collection cards with the ultimate form, and then I would just put in the ultimate form from this event in the deck to fill it out. And then the event after that, we'll see what else is there. I think with heal and also with power gem creation, the only thing remaining here to really make this better would be if the card provides attack boost that is a good amount of attack boost. Now you get some attack boost from the ultra rare card from the previous event though, but I think that if there is an ultimate form that can do a little bit better in terms of the attack boost based on skill points, for example, so like Bacon Baron is one, that would actually make the team super powerful. Because what you get then is you get the damage output from your Death's of Despair team, you get the nuke damage, and then you get the heal from your relic, and then you can also increase your overall attack as the fight goes on. You could actually have more. You could have more damage output because of the boost there. All right, so we're getting to the point where now we are needing multiple hits, and what I'm going to show you is I don't actually attack right away, even though my my ability, my battle skills available, what I do is I actually wait one additional turn so that my passive abilities from my ultimate form and my master collection card actually come to play. This gives me the ability to actually deal more damage this turn. And it also sets me up nicely because now what I can do is I can set this up so that every 2 turns I am always activating battle skills. Keep in mind that the Despots of Despair deck is a 2-turn deck, whereas this event deck is a 4-turn deck. And you want to time it so that your passive abilities of the Despots of Despair deck will align well with the 2-turn cooldown that you have there. So every if you do it this way, where you wait 1 extra turn in the beginning, you'll see later that every 2 turns you're going to be able to activate full battle skills, and that is how you're going to maximize the damage against the bosses. So if you're getting to a point where you feel like you should be able to deal more damage to the boss, but you just end up timing out or you just lack that little bit, hopefully this tip is going to help you. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to right now I'm just going to focus on getting the passive, and in the next boss I'm going to start focusing on getting the power gems created, so I can also show you sort of the manner in which I do this, because it's going to be very important as we get into level 15s and 16s. We're going to start having to do that a little bit more. Right now, actually maybe 16, 17 is when we really need to do it. Right now I think we're still okay, but I'm going to start showing you sort of how I do this. So one of the things that there's a couple of things to remember. First thing is the passive ability of the Despots of Despair and also Rodash will create fire power gems. And what this will do is it will actually create the fire power gems over any existing fire gems. And so if there's a lot of fire gems that's already on the board, then it will choose to create that first rather than overriding a non-fire gem. And this is going to be important if you have an off affinity power gem, which I'm searching for. And right now what I'm doing is I am using the time in between to try and find an opportunity to create this gem, and I see it right here. So you need to use the time between sort of like when the clock has stopped to look for opportunities to make these power gems. And so when you are able to create it, then you can use that as a clock stopper. And this is going to be very important. And I think I can actually I will actually be able to show you how this works in the next turn. So right now what you can see here is I'm going to go ahead and activate everything, and if all things go right, hopefully the dark power gem actually remained untouched. And so now I can go ahead and do a power gem swap, and then I can stop the clock using this off gem. When I managed to get past my level 20 boss, I actually was able to keep it unchanged for a long time. And in fact, when I went up against the level 21, I was able to do that for most of the fight on the 3rd attack as well, and I almost managed to take it down, except in the end it did overwrite the power gem in one of the fights. So unfortunately that did eat up 2 seconds of the clock, which it actually means a lot. 2 seconds, if you are quick, you can actually deal a lot of damage in 2 seconds actually. And so right now I'm gonna have to start playing a little bit faster, because we're gonna get to the point where if I end up taking too long to make the matches, I actually will lose out on the fight here. So I'm going to try to focus here, but what I'm going to show you here is sort of tips and tricks on how you can do the matches. And because you have 2 turns on in the beginning of the fight before you really want to activate everything, that is actually going to be the perfect time for you to be looking for an opportunity to build the off affinity power gem. And so because that gives you 2 turns to do so, then once you build it up, then you'll kind of want to stay away from there if possible. So let's see if we can keep this untouched. So that's good. And so you want to make sure that you keep it tucked away nicely so that it doesn't actually get matched by power gems or something. by falling gems. And the other thing you'll want to do is in the sort of in between, you want to keep your fire gems untouched so that when the passive ability actually spawns, it will just overwrite those regular fire gems rather than something else, because there's always a possibility that your passive ability might actually overwrite the non-affinity power gem, if it makes sense. And so those are all sort of like the things that you have to think about as you get higher up, because you're trying to save every second that you can save on the fights really counts. And the biggest time killer right now is because the full board doesn't stop the clock. You have to do it yourself. You have to manage. You have to sort of manage on your own. Now, there are other ways to do this without counting on, without actually counting on this method. And that would be either reducing the total relics or just reducing the number of heroes that you activate. But to me, I think that it does mean that you're going to reduce your damage overall. And while that could be efficient to an extent, it might get to a point where it's not quite enough. All right, so let's see here. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to create power gem right here. So I see an opportunity there. So if you can't find it on the first turn, then quickly do a match and make a decision so that you can, because when you do a match there, the board clears up and that gives you more visibility into the board afterwards. And so that's what I did. I was able to see the board a bit better to see that I could actually do a green gem power gem match. And now what we're going to do is we're going to stay away from the earth gem, because what I don't want is I don't want to do gem matches and then for the falling gems to then take out the power gem that I'm trying to save. So keeping our fingers crossed each time we do this so that we don't end up overwriting the board, and we don't. So that's good. And let's see. So this will probably be a 2 attack. The amount of health there, it'll cost about 2 attacks. And so if possible, try not to match fire gems, but a lot of times sort of waiting around trying to find a match is also a very sort of it's a bad thing to do, actually, because it actually takes up a lot more clock than you realize when you're sort of searching for a match afterwards, because you're trying to avoid matching fire gems, for example. Sometimes it's better to simply match those gems rather than waiting to find the sort of the optimal match, because you're ending up spending more time looking for a match there that would end up making it more difficult for you to defeat a boss later because you don't have time. And we're going to get to a point later too where we will start having 2 ultimate gems, because now that it doesn't actually take out the skill points when you activate the ultimate form, we have 2 of them in here, so we are going to get 2 ultimate gems. They will actually increase your damage significantly if you could actually get them to spawn together. And I haven't really found a great way to, basically help the power gems to spawn close to each other, because it's all random, like where they actually spawn. But if you see them spawning next to each other, you always want to make sure that you you do swaps with them. Even if you just see just one, it's always better to do a power gem swap with a power gem 4, because that actually will actually be, I don't think I can do a gem match, so I'm going to give up on this one. So if you can't get a power gem match like I couldn't this time, then give up on it and just move on, because you still have more opportunities later. And because this first turn you are not going to actually match everything, you're going to be okay there. And now I see an opportunity to do this on the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and do a match here. And so you saw there where I gave up on the first turn, but I was able to get back to it. And so now one of the things that you want to see here is at level 17, I think this is still okay, but at level 18, I think is where we need to start thinking about doing just 2 attacks, right? Do 1 attack and then exit out. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this attack to sort of gauge how much time is remaining in the fight. We will probably exit out if we have about 3 seconds to 2 seconds remaining if we don't take the health of the boss low enough. But I think we should be fine. I think we should be able to take this boss out within this fight. We still have 12 seconds left on the clock, which is plenty. And I think we can deal enough damage. I think probably 2 more full attacks and we should be good. And so at about then around level 18 is where we'll probably do a couple of fights. Yeah, so you can see here we, we didn't get the ultimate gems to spawn next to each other, but if you see it, just have it matched next to have it swapped with your a regular power gem 4 with your ultimate gem. That's what you want to do. So the one that gets left behind as well also is a higher level power gem as well. So also look for opportunities to match those. You'll get better damage output. So it's all about increasing your damage as much as possible. Every little bit counts. And so yeah, we're fine here. So we have about there's 5 trillion left. So we'll be able to take it out as we still have 9 seconds left on the clock. So far so good. We're able to do level 17 relatively easily with this setup. And this is a really powerful combination. Granted, I do have a 3-star, 3 pink star. This was a deck where I got really lucky and I was able to pull all the cards I needed. And I basically got 2 ultra rares and 2 master collection cards. And then I crafted using dust to get my third pink star. And it's been, it's just absolutely dominating. I love it. I love using this deck. And that's why I was really excited when this deck came out, because I know of the healing capability. So you can see I'm at level 18 and I don't even worry about health, right? Whereas, in a previous deck using this setup, but without the healer, that would not have been possible. And so I would have had to put in the healer, and then my damage overall would be reduced by a lot. And so this is, in my opinion, sort of like the perfect combination right now. It's just absolutely perfect. All right, so same recipe. Timing wise right now, I want to start thinking about how much time we have. So there's 400 trillion health on the boss right now. And so let's see here. Okay, there it is. Okay. So we were able to get our power gem created there. That's good. And now the passive ability is going to activate. And then we're going to go ahead and activate these power gems here, or these battle skills. And so, once you've done this enough, and then it almost becomes like a muscle memory. Like you kind of just get used to sort of like the turn and also like the timing of when you're going to activate everything. And so this is really how I was able to get higher in the boss fights. And I really hope that this tip helps you with your with your ultimate boss fights, because this is a really great way to get higher in the your boss levels, and also how you can get more trophies. All right, and you see where as much as possible, I am also leaving those fire gems. Like I said, if you can leave those regular fire gems, then when the passive ability is activated, it will just overwrite those, so it reduce the chance of you losing the power gem. Another option is if you wanted to create 2 off affinity power gems just to decrease the chance of it being overridden, you could do that, although I wouldn't recommend it, because the more space you take away from the board for the power gems to match, you actually lose damage. And right here, I actually made a mistake where I didn't match the ultimate gem there, so that is also a mistake right there. And so like those are things that they may be small, but then over time they actually kind of add up. And so having multiple off affinity power gems works to an extent, but it's not always guaranteed. And when you miss, or when they do get overridden, or if, even if you manage to keep them, the sort of the loss in your overall damage might make it more difficult for you to take out the boss. All right, so let's see. We have 9 seconds remaining, and I think we should be fine actually even now. Okay, so there you go. We have 2 ultimate gems next to each other, so we could actually swap those. So you can see the damage output there is a lot bigger, and so we should be able to take out the boss without quitting out even at level 18, so that's good. You want to be careful as you go below 10 seconds. To me, the 10-second mark is actually a good time to start evaluating how much more health the boss has, and to start preparing for the sort of the exit, if you will. Like, because if you don't get the sort of the damage that you're looking for, you don't want to come down to the wire and then end up using too much time in your fight, so that even when you quit out, you end up losing. Basically, you lose out because you've timed out. Okay, and I think like if I were to quit right now, I should still be okay. I think I'm still within the 5-minute mark, but since I have about 7 seconds remaining and I only have 4 trillion left, I'm just going to stay here and I'm going to go ahead and take out the boss. And this entire time we were lucky and we were able to do the fight while not losing our off affinity power gem. If the off affinity power gem wasn't there, I'm going to take a second here so I can take a breather. If the off affinity power gem wasn't there, for example, every time I did a full match, that would have taken 2 seconds off the clock, and I would not have been able to finish the boss at that point. And so this is why this strategy is really important for high-level ultimate boss hits. I mean, if you have really powerful deck, like even more pink stars, you might be able to just overpower it. But I think even at the point, if you're looking to go higher in the levels, I think that this strategy will still help. So we're at level 19. We are approaching the record that I have, which is level 20. I actually came close in 21, so I'm curious how well I'm gonna do this time. I'm hoping that I can at least finish 19 and also 20. I was really happy when I managed to do 20. Let's see here. So I'm gonna, and then one of the things you can do too is if you are close to getting a power gem creation, but then it's just a little bit off, you can also use one turn to sort of move your gems to the ideal spot, and that's what I did. I used the opportunity to move the green gem to a place where I could use that, so I can move it so I can create the power gem afterwards. So that's something that you'll get used to doing as well. And right now I'm actually having a hard time finding. There you go. I was having a hard time finding a gem to match there, so that was unfortunate. So like you can see how much time that ate up. I'm already at 1260. I'm only at 1266 now. Like. And then this is also the thing I was talking about, where it also ate up my my power gem. And so this is definitely going to be a fight where I am going to have to do 2 fights, I think. But I do have another opportunity to create a power gem here. So I'm going to at least eat as much clock as I can so I can deal as much damage as I could. The goal here is to get the boss down to about 200 trillion in this fight, at least. Close to 200. Which we should be able to do. We have 9 seconds remaining, and as long as our power gem stays up, we should be okay. So let's see if we can accomplish that. Once we get to about 200, and we'll see how much time we have left, we could choose to simply exit out and then come back in with a fresh 20-second clock. When you do that, the obviously the risk is you may not be able to create the off affinity power gem as easily, or it may not. Like things might happen. You may not be able to repeat sort of how you were able to fight earlier. And so that's why you want to, not just leave it at the health where you can just barely get to with a full fight. You want to give yourself as much sort of space to finish off the boss as possible. So if you could, get one more big attack in, that's one less big attack that you have to worry about in your last fight. So we're at 365 right now, and we do have a couple of power gems, ultimate gems that we could start swapping, so we can increase our attack a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna choose, and generally, like it would be better if you swap your gems away from where your there's another ultimate gem right next to it. I didn't see it. But if you swap your gems away from the affinity gem that you're trying to save, that's also sort of the way that you can preserve it better. And also, since mine is a green gem, I would prefer to just clear out the green gems, just so that I reduce the the possibility of it spawning or dropping and I lose my power gem from the match. So 297, we're at 369 right now. So I think, okay, so one last attack and then I'm going to quit out. I should have about 1.5 minutes remaining after I exit out here. We're going to take a look here. But you definitely don't want to take too long. So we're going to probably go ahead and exit out here. I just want to be sure. Our goal was to keep it about 200. We actually managed to get it to under 200. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out. Take a look here. We are actually a lot less time than I thought. We actually only have 30 seconds, not the 1.5 minutes that I thought I had. So that's what I'm talking about. You have to really keep a mental note of how much time has elapsed. And so with that particular fight, I kind of know that if I did the fight the way I did there, where I stopped the clock a lot, that took up about 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes. And so for the next big fights, then you kind of want to know, if you want to get 3 attacks in, leaving yourself 30 seconds isn't enough to do that. You need to leave yourself at least 1.5 minutes or about 1.5 minutes to do the 3 attack strategies. And so you're going to have to be very careful about, oh gosh, I think I need to, okay, here we go. You really have to be careful not to eat up too much clock and too much of the time, and not leave yourself with enough time to take out the boss with your second and third attacks. So that's what I was trying to say. All right. So I think we should be fine with level 19 here. We're at 138 trillion, and with the next couple of big attacks, we should be able to take it out. There's plenty of time right now. And the other thing that I think is good for anybody who is, you might be starting out and you're probably watching this. One of the things I would recommend is, practicing how you could stop your clock whenever you do a match. Like, it doesn't have to be a full board of gems. It could be anytime you do any sort of matches. And the way that you want to do that is you need to decide ahead of time which gems you're going to match. So while the gems are appearing, while the clock has stopped, use this time to look at the board and decide where you want to match. And once you've decided where you want to match, always use the minimum, basically as soon as you do a match, just go to the direction that is most natural to you, whether it's left of the gem or the right of gem, and then just do a very small swap so that you can stop the clock quicker. And one of the tricks that you can also do for in this case where you're using a clock stopping mechanic, if you do your power gem swap closer to the off of any gem, then you'll have less time your hand needs to travel for you to stop the clock. And so little things like that. All right, so we finished level 19. We're gonna go to level 20 right now, and we want to make sure that we go in as quickly as possible, because between the time when you hit claim and when you go in, you're already using up about 5 to 10 seconds really, and including the intro, sort of like the intro animation, that's another 5-6 seconds there. So you're really starting out by eating up about half a minute right there. Okay, and so if you need a break, that would be the good time to take a break, or as soon as your boss is about to be taken out, you can use the pause button and then quit out, and then you'll have the opportunity to rest. Okay, so let me see here. So I don't see anything good here, although I see the green here. I think I can use that. Okay, there you go. And sometimes I actually use two hands to help me with my gem match. I actually did that. You couldn't see it, but I used 2 hands right there to do the match, because when you're trying to do a match sort of in a row like that, and there are gems from different locations, it actually takes more time if you want to do that with your with just a single hand. So sometimes adding a second hand in there could actually help. So these are all things I think it just comes with practice. All right, so we're at 820, so we definitely will not be able to do this in a single attack. And so we will set a target here for 1.5 minutes. I think we want to do 3 attacks here. So what I want to do is I want to take about 300 off of this boss. So I think at about 500 trillion remaining is where we're going to exit out. Hopefully that is at about a 3-minute mark, a minute and a half mark. Then we're going to do basically 1 or 2 big attacks, and then we will exit out again. And then we're going to use the full clock to try and take it out. So that is going to be the goal here. So if we can do that, we should be able to do level 20 just fine, as long as we don't screw up on the timing, and if we don't end up wasting too much time from losing our off affinity power gem. So you can see, like, this entire time, this has saved me. And then of course, as I say that, I lose a power gem. So now we have to start looking for it. And I see one immediately right here, and it's going to be the light gem. So I'm going to create a power gem with a light one, and you're going to see what I'm going to do here. So you want to do a match of 3, and then you can simply connect it to do the power gem creation. So it's also good if you kind of get a sense of the sort of, if you get familiarized with different sort of ways to connect the power gems, that also helps a lot, as because then you don't really have to think about it. It just becomes natural to you to create those, and then so you can save a lot of time doing that too. All right, so our goal is to get it down to about 500. We're at we're not getting lucky right now in our power gem spawns. So this is the case where it's not doing what I was hoping it would do, and I don't have. Okay, so at least I was able to create another power gem there. So let's see if we get saved there. So we're at 574. So I think I'm actually okay. So I think what I'm gonna do is do one more big attack to bring it down to 500. Then I'm gonna exit out, and I'm going to do a couple big attacks, and then I'm gonna come back in with my third and final attack to finish it off. Because it looks like I should be able to do over 300 trillion with this setup without too much issues. Yeah, and this is even with me losing out on the power gems there. So it's not a guarantee. That's why I say that I feel lucky if I can actually maintain it. All right, so I'm gonna let the nuke go off, and then we're gonna immediately exit out, see how much time we have, and we have 55 seconds. Okay. Since we only have 55 seconds remaining, I'm actually gonna give up on the idea of doing 3 attacks, because it's just not worth it for me to spend all of this time waiting and then do an attack here, because this right here takes about 2 seconds, and it doesn't deal as much damage. It only takes about like maybe about 10 or so, so it's not really going to be helpful, and so there's no way I would have enough time to go in for a second attack. So I'm just going to have to do as much as I can to try and take it out here. And so this is where I'm going to have to be very, very lucky with the power gems, and hopefully they won't get overridden like it did earlier. And so let's go ahead and keep our fingers crossed, and we're going to do this fight here. And I think some of the factors also, I think, that determines whether or not your power gems get overridden sometimes. I feel like it could also be just how many existing fire power gems are on the board as well, because I think the more fire power gems are on the board by the time you start activating everything, it simply means there's less place for your for the other gems to go, and so they are obviously going to overwrite the non-affinity power gem. And so sometimes if you see some extra power gems laying around, like sometimes maybe a drop creates another fire power gem or something, that's actually a bad thing for you. So you want to try and clear it out. At most you want to have on the board is just 1 power gem. If you have more, then it's actually going to decrease your chances of doing what I kind of didn't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clear out this blue power gem, because like I said earlier, I don't like the idea of having multiple off affinity power gems on the board, because it actually decreases your damage, and there's no guarantee that you're going to save that power gem anyway. And so it's better if you can to just keep to just 1. All right, so we have got 9 seconds remaining. We're at 2:44. I think we're on pace. I think we're doing okay, but again, this is all dependent on the way that my my power gems will spawn. So let's see, there's no additional power gems there, and I think we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and make my gem match on the right side. And then this is going to be the full attack here with all of the cards. And so I'm going to do my gem swap over here. Okay, so 574. This is now the critical time where I have to create a power gem, an Alpha Affinity power gem, so I can give myself enough time to take it out. And I see the water gem here, so I'm gonna go ahead and do. Oh, that sucks. That actually hurt so bad. Okay, so I have one more chance because this is not going to fill out the board. So I'm going to use this to take down the health of the boss a little bit. And then with 380, okay, okay, so I can create a light power gem here. So let's go ahead and create there. So that was unfortunate because what happened was as I was making my gem match, I got blocked with another set of gem matches there. So if I can stop the clock here, I should be able to deal enough damage with 267. This isn't going to take it out just yet, I don't think. But with one more attack, I should be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then we should be good at this point. See, like that's what you can see here, that right there is what made a difference, because if I didn't have this to stop the clock, then I would have not had the time to actually end this. Like I would basically run down the 2 seconds and then have no time left to do anything. So there you go. We got down level 20. So level 20 boss actually gives 9.7 trillion trophies. Billion trophies, which is quite a significant amount. And so let's go ahead and take on boss level 21. We weren't able to do it before, but I came close. So this is going to be the last boss for sure. Regardless, I don't think I'll be able to take it. Even if I take it down, I'm not going to be able to take down the next one. But regardless, what I want to do here is go as hard as I can anyway, so that when I reset, I will not be starting at level 21. Instead, I'll go back to 1 so that I can actually have a chance of taking it out and earning some more trophies there. So thank you so much for having joined me here so far watching this. I'm sure that, I'm sure that you'll probably be fast forwarding here and there, but this is basically a full playthrough from level 1 to level 21 for me. And I hope you've enjoyed this so far. All right, so I'm going to go do this. And then this. So 1463. And what is the target goal here? So I want to take down about 400 trillion. And so that would mean I want to go down to about 900. If I can get down to about 800 trillion, then exit out. I can then sort of assess how much time I have to take down a little bit, because if I can get it down to close to 800, that means if I could do 100 or 200, I might stand a chance if I play really well in the last round. So that is going to be the strategy here. I mean, I came close enough the first time around to make me want to try this again. And so we'll see, keeping my fingers crossed that we'll be successful in 21. But if not, at least we were able to do up to 20, which is amazing. Like I was never able to get this high before. And so I'm glad I'm able to at least do this and share with you all. Like, even though I'm not doing this live, I am live recording right now. And I'll be, uploading it basically unedited, so that you can just see sort of like the progress here. All right, so we are at 1.19, and I think with 1151, so I should be able to get it down to, we should be able to get it down to 900 before I have to exit out. Ideally, I can bring it down to 800, but I'm concerned that I'm not going to have enough time to exit out. So I'm keeping an eye on the clock as well. Like I might need to force myself to exit a little bit just so I can get that couple attacks in, and then basically start my fresh 20-second game clock with it being as close to the 5-minute mark as possible. You want use as much of the time as you can to your advantage here if the goal is to try and take down these bosses. I also missed the opportunity to do the swap of the 2 ultimate gens, but I was able to at least match 1, so that's okay. All right, so we're gonna be 9 seconds. Yeah, I think we should be good here, because I think with the next big attack, we're gonna be able to bring it down to about 1 quadrillion. I guess that's quadrillion there. And then with another couple of big hits, we'll be able to bring it down to about 800. So that's good. Like, we're on pace right now. We're actually on pace. So let's go ahead and keep going here. And as long as we don't waste time, I think we should be good. All right. So 749, and we're 987 right there. Okay, so I'm gonna basically do. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to do one more big attack. So after this one, this is, I guess, what I would call the mid attack. After the next big attack, I'm going to exit out, and then we're going to restart, do a quick attack for the second 3 key attack, and then exit out again, and then immediately go into the third attack. So let's see how this works out. So I want to do this fast. So even though there's still 6 seconds remaining on the clock, you can see, like, you might think, oh, why am I wasting the time doing this? Because I actually think that if I left this, I feel like I might not actually. I feel like I'll have better chance of doing this, and because I have better control over the timing. Okay, so that was not that was not actually what I expected. I only have 13 seconds remaining, so we actually have to try and get 800 trillion in the 20-second game clock. I thought I could do a third attack, and I guess I completely mistimed it. So let's see what we can do. Is it possible to get 800 trillion in the 20-second game clock? We'll see, I guess. I think we were able to do about 600, and we had 6 seconds, maybe like 500 or so, and we have 6 seconds game clock remaining. And so I think we should be okay. So let's go ahead and do this. And then we have 1 more second remaining. Oh, 1 more hit. So let's go and do this. And you can see, like, even though the boss almost takes out, like, it takes out maybe like more than 3/4 of my health, I'm still able to heal back really well after 2 turns. So the healing factor has been really, really, really amazing. All right, 1391. I think I'm going to come close. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this, to be honest with you. But we'll see. Don't count your chickens until they've hatched, I guess. That's what I say. Okay, so... But the second that my power gem gets overridden, then I think that is going to be it. Like, I don't think it'll be possible for me to come back from that. And I'm already at the point where... if I exit out, I'm already past the 5-minute mark, so there's definitely no way for me to continue again. And so any time that I lose here is just going to make it that much harder for me to get the remaining damage I need. Okay, so 1197, and we have 660. We were at about 800 or so. So we're doing okay. I mean, timing wise, we still are above 1149. This is gonna be close. This is definitely gonna be close if it keeps out like this. All right, so we're 612. What I'm doing is I'm also sort of keeping track of, like, how much damage I need to deal, so that I could. It doesn't really do anything, but it's just for me. I'm thinking about, okay, so this is how much I need, so then I can sort of tell based on the time left remaining how feasible it is. But I'm going to play hard anyway to try and get this. So let's go ahead and do this. So 577, 10 seconds remaining. So that means in the past 10 seconds, we were able to get it from about 800 something to 577. So that kind of tells me that, well, I'm still going to be off by at least maybe 100 trillion or so. So we'll see. because we have 10 seconds remaining. But I guess some of that time was eaten up in the beginning where I had no chance of stopping the clock. So there was some time lost there. So I actually probably have 2 additional seconds than what I'm working with. So the 9 seconds here, these are sort of the true time I have. Whereas in the beginning, I lost some time just because of like the initial gem match and all that stuff. So let's see. We're 451. And I kind of am losing a little bit of damage because I'm not actually matching my ultimate gems. But honestly, like I'm just trying to do the gem match as soon as as soon as I can, as soon as the clock basically runs again. So sometimes I don't even have time to really look for it, and if I don't see it right away, then I don't bother. 689, we're at 387. This is really close, guys. We might be able to do it. We'll see. Oh no. Oh, I hesitated for a second there. That was really bad. I hesitated for a second. For some reason, like the timing in my head was incorrect. I thought that the battle skills were going to be ready there. So that could be a costly mistake right there. 464, and we're at 289. So we have 4 seconds to basically get the remaining 275. We might let's hope beyond hope and hope that the 1 second or so that I lost isn't going to cost me too much. Okay, let's go for this. Let's go. And right now, like I'm just going over speed. I'm losing a little bit of damage, but I can't afford to lose time right now. And so I'm going to and I also, like that sort of for me, the fire gems were the only viable ones for me to match at the time. So these were all things that sort of happen near the end, like what I call the end game, that sometimes I just feel like, it just kind of happens. Like something unexpected happens, you have to match something you didn't want to, or you end up, the worst is having to look for a place to do your gem match. I think that is sort of the worst feeling, where you're frantically trying to find a match and then you end up losing so much more time because you can't find that match. Oh, 289 and 255 now with 132. I think that requires 2 more hits, so we're gonna have to do this quick. So this is gonna be a mid hit, or it's gonna be a full hit, actually a full hit followed by a mid hit. We might do it as long as we don't. Okay, so we didn't lose our power gem there, so that's good. And okay, so 57, 51, 45. 145 remaining. This is going to be a mid hit. Okay, let's see. Hopefully this is going to be enough damage. We still have a minute. We still have a second, and we still have 1.12 seconds remaining. So if this doesn't do it, oh gosh, it doesn't. It's just not enough. 0.73 seconds remaining. I think we got this, guys. Ooh. That was close. All right. So we activate all of our power gems. We're not gonna be able. We might be able to stop the clock enough to actually get the nuke in anyway. But we wouldn't need that. So we're able to take down level 21, which I wasn't able to do before, and that was 14.8 billion trophies. Holy smokes! And that was in 2 attacks. Okay, so now we're gonna take on level 22. But honestly, that's almost double the health. And so there's no way I can do this. But what I am going to do is I'm simply going to deal enough damage so that I could exit out and actually not lose, basically not reset. I basically want to force a reset. So this is sort of the point where now people, I think it's just so inconsistent that I can't really give a good answer. A lot of people say that they just do a single hit and quit. I wouldn't recommend that at this point, just because you don't want to waste another 16 ultimate coins to get in to find out that you haven't actually reset. And basically then you're going to have to recollect that again. So I always attack as much as I can. And then I also try to take off as much time as I could so that I could, be sure that it's going to actually happen. And so this is going to, even though I know that there's no chance for me to take it out, I'm doing this anyway, just so I can take out more health. Like I'm hoping to get at least like 15-20% off before I stop. It is pretty tiring, going after 21 bosses in a row, sitting like this. It can be very tiring too. And so the thing I want is to basically just end and let it go. But I do want to make sure that I take, deal more damage. And right now, it barely looks like I'm doing any damage because the boss's health is just so incredibly high right now. So what's going to be the target goal here? I think I'm just going to keep going until the time runs out. I'm just going to keep matching until the time runs out. And I think that's going to be close to the 5-minute mark anyway. And so then I could sort of rest easy knowing that I've done what I can. And when I come back and collect enough ultimate tokens for the next time, I should be able to go back to level 1 again. And so I've been having pretty good success with the ultimate bosses this time. And I don't really get a chance to show this often. And this is sort of the unedited video. So, as you're watching it, let me know your feedback. Let me know what you think. I just kind of feel like this is probably something I don't really get to do often, and wanted to get the opportunity to show you guys so you can sort of watch along as well. And if I actually create off affinity power gems, that would actually help me eat up more time. I didn't think about that. So I could do that. I'll do that next turn. Actually, I could do this. No, if I go off sync, then that's going to be worse for me. So let's just go ahead and do this, and I'll create the power gem next time. So we're able to bring it down to, we were able to still, take down about 300 trillion. So I hope that's going to be enough, right? And right there, that was an easy one for me to create. So we can just go ahead and use that, right? So what am I doing right now is I'm basically trying to extend the amount of time I spend in this match so that by the time it stops, I get closer to the 5-minute mark. I just kind of always feel a little uneasy if I kind of leave that and I don't attack the full amount and I let it time out naturally, as opposed to timing out in the game and then come back and say, 5 minutes have passed and then the boss has escaped. But we'll see. This video is quite long at this point, just from me doing all the bosses here, but we're gonna go ahead and okay. So 284, I think we should be okay. I think I've dealt more than 5% damage. Probably even close to 10% at this point, right? 2 quadrillion. All I need to do is deal 200 billion for 10%. Yeah, so that was more than enough. I should be good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do my last attacks and then let it quit, and then we'll call it a night. That was really exciting though, doing that last boss fight. I never expected I was able to take it down, but we came through. The power gem didn't let us down. It remained where it needed to be so that I could use it as a clock stopper. So my clock stopper was doing what it's supposed to. So kudos to that power gem right there. All right, so here's going to be my last attack, and I will probably let it time out after this. I will stop the clock anyway, 16 seconds, or 0.16 seconds. Yeah, well, that wasn't bad. We managed to deal quite a bit of damage there, actually. Time out. All right, let's see how much damage we did there, and then we can call it a night. Time ended up running out anyway. And that was 590. So that's all for this episode. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Hopefully this has been entertaining enough for you. And let me know your feedback and comments below as well. And share with me your strategy for ultimate bosses as well. Let's get this conversation going. So thanks a lot, everybody. Take care. I'll see you next time.